Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the City of Douglas Mayor and Commission meeting. This will serve as our regular meeting, March 25th, 2019. And the invocation, we will have Commissioner McNeil introduce, and we will go forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Gowan has offered to do prayer for me tonight. Thank you. Brother Steve Gentry from West Side Holiness Baptist Church was going to be here, and something came up, so thank you, Mike.
No problem. Father in heaven, we're thankful for the opportunity we had to gather together as elected officials and citizens and staff here at the City of Douglas. We're grateful for thy blessings. We're grateful for the freedoms that we enjoy for this country in which we live, for the opportunity we have to participate and use our agency to make decisions on how to govern. We're grateful for all those who step forward to volunteer and give up their time and efforts and make sacrifices to do what needs to be done to govern our city. We're thankful for all our staff for the hard work they put in to make everything go. And we're grateful especially for our citizens for all they do to make our city a great place to live. Father, we ask that thou would bless us with thy spirit, that we would have thy guidance as we contemplate issues that need to be addressed. We pray that thou would bless us with love and understanding, that as we encounter differences of opinion, that we'd be able to do so in a kind, respectful manner that's in keeping with the example set by thy Son. We pray for thy blessings to be upon us and our citizens. Particularly, we know that there are many that are bowed down with grief and hardship and heartache this time. We pray that thou would touch them and help them, and help us as citizens to look out for each other, for we know that we are our brother's keeper. We love thee, and we ask for these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mike.
Next, if you would, is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please stand. As always, we have Coffee County Navy ROTC with us, and tonight we have Ensign Marino to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good evening. Please be seated. Next, we will have the approval of the order of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have the swearing in of a police officer, Officer Nathaniel Roberts. See if we can grab a few people out here. Chief, how you doing? Good deal. Young man, how you doing? Good, good, good. Just put them in the middle. Put them in the middle. Right here. Good deal. So what I'm going to do is, basically I'm just going to say I, you state your name, then I'm going to read everything, and you just say I do, okay? We're squared away? Go Trojans. Good deal. I, raise your right hand, thank you. Swear or affirm that I will well and truthfully discharge the duties of police officer for the City of Douglas, and that I will faithfully perform and discharge the duties of my position conscientiously and without malice or partiality to the best of my ability. I further swear or affirm that I am not the holder of any public monies due this state or any state or political subdivision unaccounted for, and in of the foreign states, and I am otherwise qualified to hold said office to which I am appointed, and for so as long as I am employed with the City of Douglas Police Department according to the Constitution and the laws of Georgia, and I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state. I I do further swear or affirm to obey, to adhere to uphold, and to enforce the laws of the United States of America and of the state of Georgia at all times. And do further swear or affirm that I will bear faith and allegiance to the governor of the state of Georgia, the legal authority appointed over me by the city of Douglas, and the officers appointed over me according to the law. So help me God. I do. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Did we get a picture of that young man?
Yes.
We did? Okay, good deal. Next on the agenda, we have the items placed on the consent agenda. As always, our city manager will read off the items. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 7 items being brought forward on the consent agenda tonight. From the work session, we have item number 1, approval of the March 11th, 2019 minutes. Item 2, approval of the purchase of a new 2019 32-foot gooseneck enclosed trailer. Item 3, approval to increase purchase and spending limits on electrical transformers up to $30,000. Item 4, approved declaring equipment as surplus. Item 6, approval of the Electric Cities of Georgia Pole Attachment Service Amendment and Resolution. Item 7, approval of the MGAG voting delegates for the 2019 annual meeting. And item 8, approval of the request for road closure there at South Georgia State College. Those are items on the consent agenda.
Thank you. At this time, I entertain a motion for all items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Discussion.
Yes.
Regarding the item, just a moment. I just had it. This, regarding the item for the minutes at the last meeting, I just like to state it in the record regarding my request to be able to travel the night before, the day before, for the Savannah trip in June, that it was, I don't know what the discussion was that you all held, because I walked out of the room, but however, before I walked out, I like to have it added into the minutes that Commissioner McNeil began to discuss before I walked out, that what Commissioner Moore and Commissioner Roper are able to do. I want to make sure that that's added into the minutes, because I did hear her say that, which whatever they are able to do has nothing to do with what I'm able to do. So I need that to be a part of the minutes, and anything else that would show a discrepancy regarding my being able to travel the night before. Thank you.
Okay, since there's those items that are on the consent agenda, and Commissioner Pearson, wants to make an amendment to those minutes. So, Commissioner Moore, do you want to leave the minutes as the same or incorporate what Commissioner Pearson said?
Well, I just voted to approve them as they were in the previous commission meeting. But what I think she's referring to is the motion that was made and passed on the new travel policy, that this, and I wasn't here for that meeting, that she's referring to the travel policy that was passed by the group that was here at that time. And that was for the travel pay, the food, the mileage, or whatever was, it was I think we need to, so everybody can be clear on that, is to pull that up when that policy was passed, the travel policy. And I can't really say yay or nay because I wasn't here, and the policy as to how it was needs to be brought up and discussed, because I don't think anybody here was here. Well, I don't know who was here when it was changed.
Okay, so the question before us is, do you want to incorporate what Commissioner Pearson said about the minutes?
Mr. Mayor, I'm not necessarily asking you all to amend the minutes because, see, I know you all are going to vote to not do it. Okay? So you don't have to pose that question.
Okay.
I'm stating verbally that I heard Ms. McNeil say before I walked out about, well, Commissioner Roper and Commissioner Moore, they would travel on the day of sometimes. And I stated, oh, you didn't say that?
That was not my exact.
Just-
Okay, she's shaking her head that
That's
she
okay.
didn't say that. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. She said that. And when she said that, that's when I began to get aggravated because I remember saying to her, I'm not Commissioner Moore and I'm not Commissioner Roper. So whatever they can do, that does not apply to me because their body isn't my body. And I also told you you're not my doctor. So I'm stating, and again, not asking you all to amend it.
Okay.
Because, like I say, you're not going to. You never do when it comes down to me. But I'm stating at this meeting, in these minutes, and on the television, and Miss Nicole quote me what Miss McNeil said, that what I heard her say before I walked out, and that's why I walked out. So you don't have to waste time and carry anything to a motion about amending no minutes.
Okay.
But I know that that was unfair for her to say what Commissioner Moore and Commissioner Roper can do and try to compare my body to theirs. So you don't have to waste your time, sir.
Thank you,
We're
ma'am.
asking your fellow commissioners whether or not they want to amend something or not.
So we have a motion and a second. We had one discussion. Any more discussion? All in favor? Consent agenda, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Next.
Mayor, we have one item being brought forward. That would be item 5 from the work session. This will be the first reading to change an ordinance to allow status of non-certified code enforcement officers.
This will be the first reading. We'll have the second reading at the next meeting, so you don't take any action on this ordinance tonight. Be it ordained by the Mayor and Board of Commissioners of the City of Douglas in a regular meeting assembled in pursuit of lawful authority thereof, this code of ordinance of the City of Douglas, Georgia, is amended and status amended as follows. There is hereby created a status of designated employees as non-certified code enforcement officers. Said individuals may be assigned by the city manager and/or the community development director to any city employee within the community development department for the effective and efficient enforcement of the city code and to be under direct supervision of the city marshal. Non-certified code enforcement officers shall be exempt from being recognized as a law enforcement officer of the state and certified with training pertaining to the state of Georgia code enforcement officer level 1, 2, and 3 administered by the Carl Vincent Institute or other government training source. The status of a non-certified code enforcement officer shall be authorized and empowered to issue warnings and citations for violations of city ordinances and code provisions. Citation summons issued pursuant to this section shall be returnable to the city court. The officer shall be authorized and empowered to enforce the provisions of following chapters and appendices of the code. Any additional chapters, articles, or sections that are added to the city code by amendment or ordinance. Animals, buildings, building regulations, businesses, environment, fire prevention and protection, flood damage prevention, health and sanitation, signs, solid waste, streets, sidewalks, and other public places, taxation, utilities, vegetation, and unified land development code. The primary duties and responsibilities employees granted the status of non-certified code enforcement officer shall be as follows: to enforce ordinances enacted by the mayor and commission of the city of Douglas, to enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the city of Douglas, to issue warnings, notices of ordinance violations, and citations, summonses for court appearances for violations of ordinance and state laws, to investigate and collect evidence of city ordinance violations, to investigate and collect evidence of violations of state laws, to respond to complaints of ordinance violations or violations of state laws, to appear testify in court, do any follow-up work that may be necessary, to coordinate enforcement efforts with building inspection, office, planning division, planning, public works department, any other department or division of the city of Douglas as may be deemed necessary. Often read for the first time at the regular meeting of the mayor and board of commissioners of the city of Douglas, Georgia on March 11th, 2019. And we'll have the second reading at the next meeting. Thank you.
Mayor Paul, I know the ordinance has been read, but I just feel like as if we need to explain this to the citizens
Right.
too. Even though the ordinance has been read, explain to them what this ordinance is.
What it means.
And when it goes to effect, if it's voted for, what they can look for.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's not my department, so.
Ms. Henderson, do you want to do it or you want Ms. Henderson?
She can, would you care to say something?
City manager, you gonna answer?
Tonight's discussion is based on allowing non-post certified employees that have been deemed in that department necessary or worthy or skill setted to do so, to write citations on non-state laws, enact on city ordinance violations, whether it be junk cars, dilapidated housing, dogs at large, or whatever the non-state laws would be.
So thank you, because I was asking her if she cared to say anything, but I guess she deferred to you. So, being that you stated what you had to state about it, in response to what Commissioner Durham is requesting, he's saying that we should say something.
Okay.
And I guess he pretty much said myself, since I'm the commissioner liaison for that department, but any commissioner can also say something. So, to the citizens of Douglas, what that means is they're asking that regular staff be allowed to write citations, okay? And if regular staff is writing citations for whatever reasons they're writing them, these staff will not be certified officers. However, they can write you a citation. I oppose this moving forward because I feel it will create some controversy, chaos, more than what we've already had. Myself, Commissioner Durham, and Commissioner Bob Moore voted for this not to pass, but the other remaining commissioners voted for it to pass. So at the next meeting that we have, which will be, what's the date for the next meeting?
I don't have a calendar before me.
April 8th.
April 8th. On April the 8th, this ordinance will be voted upon because we'll have the second reading. Tonight was the first reading, and I do not agree with it. Now, if you think you've already been getting some citations that you should not have gotten, if they add more staff who are non-certified staff to write tickets, it's going to be, in my opinion, more controversy, more chaos, more confusion. Now, I really have a problem with this, and I have concerns as to why it's actually coming forward. Because Mr. Roger Goddard stated tonight, right before Commissioner Durham, that last month he wrote 3 citations. So if he wrote 3 citations, why do we need to have regular staff who are non-certified to write citations to be writing citations? I don't know about you all, but quite frankly, I am sick and tired of complaints and problems and issues here in Douglas, Georgia, that's unnecessary. It's like some people here do things just to cause problems, and I'm sick and tired of it. And furthermore, based on the information I've been given, those citations were primarily written in the black community. And I've asked for a log of the citations. I have not gotten it. I got one time, and I said that we should have a system of how these citations in these areas will be reviewed to see who is in code violation. I haven't gotten that procedure yet that I've asked for. So if you all are content with being fined by the city of Douglas on petty issues, because when that department was established, I specifically stated that people would be given a warning before a ticket, because this was something new. They were not accustomed to being cited for grass grown up, for junk cars, or what have you. And I feel that people need a warning before they are actually given a ticket, given time to correct the problem. So I'm not satisfied with how things have been going. Furthermore, I'm not satisfied how some people sit on this council and they allow the damn city department heads to call the shots and run things. We have the vote on it, but it's as though we bow down to the department heads, and I'm sick and tired of it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Moore. Any comments?
Comments, I
I'm
just,
talking about as far as on the ordinance that Jerome read.
no, that ordinance, I mean, I am for it to, I think any citizen can make, you've heard Barney Fife, the citizen arrest, so, but if you don't break the law, you're not gonna get a ticket.
That's not true.
Well, I got one, I mean, and I didn't.
You said you didn't break the law.
Okay, Mr. Moore, Commissioner Pierce. Mr. Moore, you have any other comments?
No.
Commissioner McNeil?
I don't, Mayor. I really don't.
Mr. Taylor, any comments?
No comments.
Mr.
The
Dunn?
reason why I wanted that stated is because in my ward, you know, they come to me about tickets, and I have been talked Mr. Roger about that. And I just want the people to I want them to know what's going on, the citizens, because these citations go through to them, then they come to us. And I understand about department heads, and I understand the department, but still at the end of the day, they still come to us. And then the thing about it is, if they come to us, it's as if judgment, as if we're not in compliance of them running their department. But still, at the end of the day, the citizens elect us. So if they get a citation, they can come to us any time. But I just feel like, you know, some stuff we touch, some stuff we don't touch. But when we start getting the results of these people coming to us more, they coming to us more about citations that's written from different people. I mean, Roger and Tamika, they already, you know what I'm saying? They already know how the citation's going and how people doing. We see that not already, but I just still, why add fuel to the fire when it don't have to be that way? But when some people, and I'm gonna say this, and I mean, it's just, to me, it's sad because that's their job. If we're gonna have a code enforcement department, let them do their job. I mean, because if you're not gonna do that, you need to do away with it. I mean, that's just where I feel. So if you let them do that, he say they didn't write but 3 citations last month. So 3, and I understand they got to do paperwork and stuff like that, but they still enforce code enforcement. So I just feel like, let them do their job. But at the end of the day, we touch what we want to touch. That's all I got to say, but I'll get back into it in my 3 minutes.
Commissioner Gowan?
I'm okay.
You okay? Basically, the ordinance, as it is written, would allow the building inspector, Mr. Parker, to issue a citation for any violations of a citizen that is, or a business that's constructing a building that's not in compliance. Also, once we fill the position of
Animal
control, that individual will be able to issue a citation without having to call one of the certified officers. During the admission or break, I was inquisitive with Mr. Garter about the number of citations. He said that they had wrote 3 citations. Well, this council did say that we need to give warnings. I asked them also, how many warnings did you give last month? They gave out 30. So they wrote 3 citations and they gave out 30 warnings.
And that deserve more people?
So my thing is this right here, what we'll do is, we had the first reading. We wanted to explain to the citizens what was going on. I think that we've done that, and when we come back, we'll take a vote on it, and we'll go from there. Mr. City Manager, was that it?
I have something else.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, you said that basically the ordinance would allow the building inspector and the animal control person to write citations. Okay, so currently, we already have Mr. Goddard and Ms.
Williams.
Tamika writing citations. So with 3 being written, even though 30 warnings were supposedly given out, and see, I don't like that kind of stuff where during the break, we go in the back and we talk and we discuss when we had opportunity to talk right out here. So we could have heard him say 30 warnings, which is still not a whole lot, you know. So 30 is not an exponential amount. It's still not. It still does not warrant having those other 2 people to do those those jobs when we already have 2 people. That doesn't warrant that. And I believe in being above board, and I'm just being rubbed the wrong way, and I'm saying it and I'm expressing it because I'm sick and tired of folk trying to sugarcoat stuff and lie. I'm really sick of it. All of a sudden it came to 30 warnings.
He said 30.
Oh, okay. I hear what you said. But like I said, I, as that commissioner liaison, have been asking for a log. I got it one time. And one thing Commissioner Moore did say during our work session, he stated he wanted more time to look more into it. That's what he stated.
Correct.
And he didn't vote for the ordinance. He didn't vote for it. And it just bothers me how some of y'all think we supposed to sit up here and anything a department head says, we supposed to say, okay, we good with it. That bothers me. That tells the citizens of Douglas that we got some folks sitting up here on this council who can't think for themselves. That bothers me, and I've been wanting to say it a long time, and I finally said it tonight. And if you can't think for yourself, you don't need to be up here. And I said that. And the citizens of Douglas ought to be tired of what they're getting. They ought to be tired. Because I ain't got to talk so soft and calm and shoot you a lie. Because I'm telling you the straight truth. I'm giving it to you straight up. But if y'all want somebody who's so politically correct to sit and lie to you, keep doing what you've been doing and see where you end up at. Enough is enough, and I've had enough. I'm done for now.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is staff comments.
Mayor, I want to mention of a few things that didn't make it during the city manager updates. One, I just want to remind everybody tomorrow night, we've got the joint city-county school board meeting at the EMA office, the Emergency Operations Center there on Oak Park, starting at 6 p.m. A reminder, I've sent y'all a couple flyers on it, on the mental health fair coming up May 18th from 10 to 2. Just want to give a shout out to the members of the police department and other agencies on the law enforcement that done the Pedal for Peace this past weekend. It was a good event, quite a good turnout. I actually went twice. I went there at 9 o'clock in the morning when it started at 12, so then I came back at 12. I had a very productive meeting. Y'all hear more about it in the near future as we deal with aviation education. We've been meeting with Dr. Lease, Wiregrass, South Georgia College, and some other members of the flight community about establishing an aviation curriculum for our K through 12 program, for the college with Dr. Sellers. Some exciting news there potentially in the future. And also tomorrow we'll be having a visit by the Camera Ready Unit Division of Georgia. One of the production companies will be here looking at the airport for some potential movie making maybe one day, because that is the last standing World War II flight academy in America, or whatever. So that'll be, and then we put that on agenda. They'll be here all day tomorrow, so there's an agenda at your workstation there. If you want to pop in or pop out or whatever. So that's all mine. I think Georgia has some comments.
Just have a couple announcements coming from the Parks and Recreation Department. Just want to remind everyone that the annual Tiny Tot Easter Egg Hunt is coming up on Saturday, April the 13th at the J.C. Adams Municipal Park. It starts at 11 a.m. sharp, so we just encourage everyone to be there. Bring your baskets, bring the kids, and look for a fun time and photo out with the Easter Bunny. Also, this community over the years used the Parks and Recreation having a summer blitz registration. Last year they went to a different in-house type registration during the summer. Just want to prepare the parents to get ready. This information, I guess, will be on our website. Registration for summer camps will be, well, the opening day for registration will be on May the 7th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Recreation Department. So there's a list if you want to find out what camps they have available for the kids to recreate and have fun during the summertime. Just contact our Parks and Recreation Department or go online and download the flyer. Thank you.
Thank you. You good, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, sir.
All right, at this point, we'll have the mayor and staff comments. Commissioner Pearson, may I lead off with you? You ready?
No, I'm not. Give me a minute.
Ready. Commissioner McNeil?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't think I'm ready either.
I think you're ready. Mr. Moore? You good?
Good.
Mr. Taylor?
I just want to make a comment to the police department or whoever else involved with all what we been going on in the city of Douglas. Appreciate everything y'all have done to keep the city of Douglas safe, you know, because there's a lot that's been going on in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it's not only going on here in Coffee County. If you look at the news, it's just going on everywhere, you know. So just pray for our, you know, country as a whole, you know, of the situations and things that are going on around the city of Douglas and also in the city of Douglas. I want to give a special thanks to 2 citizens that took time out in my area that I stay in, which used to be former house trailer park. There was a young lady by the name of Mary Shara Jordan, and I cannot call this guy's name, Wilford. They took the time out in house trailer park where it had grew up in what you might say bushes and everything, and they took upon themselves to clean that area up. They live in that area where she has a trailer down there, and the gentleman, he lives in that area. And they went through there, and it's a totally different looking place. I would just like to say, I would like to thank them for taking time out to help keep Coffee County looking good. Before I came up, you know, this afternoon, I was just admiring the way the area looks, you know, before and after, you know. And I just want to give a shout out and let them know that thank them for helping keeping their area clean. And there are other places that need some attention. We're going to work on that. And just for those to keep up the good work. Thank you.
Commissioner Durham?
Good evening. I just want to say this to the police department with the stuff that's been going on. We thank y'all for the police department as well as the sheriff department as well, but we thank y'all since y'all with us to see it. But I got kind of mad, and the reason why I got kind of mad is because it was some things that was said, and I wish Mr. Preston was here because I was going to talk to him about it. And this council most of these people on the council don't be targeted, but mostly me and Commissioner Pierce. And my thing is, when Mr. Terrell Jacobs was here as our city manager, he dealt with things with press release if it came against the mayor and commission. He came with a hush-hush. I mean, he came to close the things up. If there was rumors, if there was talks, he closed them up. But we're not under that leadership anymore. But where I got mad was when the robbery went on at Malcolm's, and Mr. Preston made a comment about, I mean, I wasn't here at the meeting before when y'all voted for it to travel. And he made a comment saying this is what the commissioners need to worry about right here. And what grieved me and what made me so mad is because I feel like at the end of the day, we all are mayor and city council, but stuff is deliberately said and done to me and Commissioner Pearson. But I feel like at the end of the day, all of us are on here, somebody needs to say something and not just let him just say anything about us. First of all, in these, it's probably some wars that's up here with people. I understand the accident that happened at Malcolm's. I hate that. But we have had a lot of crime in our area. And he don't know how many citizens I have lost in my ward. He don't know how many parents that I had to sit down and I had to go to them with the police officer and tell them that their child has lost their life. He don't know none of that. But what grieves me is that we let this go on. Mm-hmm. We let this go on as mayor and commissioner and city manager. We let this go on. Even before Commissioner Taylor got in the seat, it was a family that we dealt with had to take the mother to the hospital because her child got killed. But he don't see these things. But what grieved me is, don't nobody say nothing about it. They don't say nothing about it. And it's sad. It's sad. It's sad that we're sitting in these seats and we know the stuff. We don't have nothing to do with law enforcement. We have a police chief, he directs them with that. I don't have nothing to do with that. But what the thing about it is, what grieves me is that we sit here and we won't say nothing about it. And everything. That's just like what grieves me the most is, a few months ago, we sat here, we made a decision on the community development department. They said they was losing 170 years of experience. Mm-hmm. They hired a grant specialist. Do the grant specialist have 170 years of experience? No. Mm-hmm. She only has a bachelor's and it's in business administration and marketing. Mm-hmm. But you hired somebody in that position for those years that you say you're going to be missing. Mm-hmm. That's what grieves me. We go with what we want to go with. We touch with what we want to touch. Mm-hmm. But you say you're losing 170 years of experience, and you're not even getting the years of experience in that. Even though the child might have a bachelor's, even though it may be in business administration, and it may be in marketing, but it's still not in grants, or not in that department. Right. But we sit here and let this stuff go on in the city. Mm-hmm. With a hush. And they all right with it. So if y'all all right with it, I'm okay with it. But just guess what? You will see it again. Mm-hmm. What goes up, it comes down. And I'm just tired of it. Mr. President, he made that statement deliberately about that. Even when it came down to the police chief, he put me and her out there. Yeah. And we voted for Chief Edmondson. Exactly. And we voted for him. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is, we don't get no backup from the mayor commission, nor the city manager. But I can expect that ever since I stood here that day and told them that we needed a city manager to come in here and do something, everything been going chaotic for it. And I just can't sit here and just say that it's all right at the end of the day. And it's not all right. We touch what we want to touch, and we do what we want to do. But I just feel like if we are commissioned, if we are commissioners, we can stand up and say, hey, that's not the truth. But y'all just sit there, let lie after lie after lie after lie after lie go. Mm-hmm. They let it go. And it just done built up to I can't function. But we all say we're going to heaven one day. A lot of them going to miss it. Tell them. That's all I got to say. Get it right in your hearts. Do what's right. do what's right. At the end of the day, do what's right. We ain't even got a report, but we were supposed to get about the GBI thing.
That's right. Tell it. Nothing.
The GBI investigation, but it's everything hush.
It's all right.
But it's okay. I'll be the bad one. I'll be the bad one. But I just feel like at the end of the day, I had to look them parents in the eye after these incidents happened and tell them that their child is dead. But he didn't see that. He didn't see that.
He don't care.
And the thing about this, he writing reports about these families don't even know that their people dead, but he goes on the scene and report this stuff.
Yeah, for the family even
And
know.
before that's so disrespectful. But we okay with it. But if Mr. Jacobson here, he'll shut that down. He would have signed a press release through public information. I know what I'm talking about. But these are the things that we don't do. And we wonder how things go. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Sickening.
I'm tired of it. We do what we want to do and how we want to do it. We want to give staff authority, but still don't get no respect up here. So we got to surrender. Child, please. I'm through, Mr. Mayor. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Durham. Commissioner Gowan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We, I think everybody's seen the headlines recently. One of my jobs is to be the liaison with our police department, and I want to thank them for their efforts in solving these armed robberies that we've had. I believe we've had, was it 3 at Flash North? We had one down there at, I guess it's M Market now, at the Willacoochee Highway, and I think the county had one out at Evans Grocery, and by our officers staying on it, investigating, and I think we also probably had some citizen cooperation. We were able to identify who's been involved with those, and we've got them locked up now. And I want to let the police department know that we appreciate their efforts to do that. Many of y'all realize armed robbery, it carries up to a life sentence because of the risk it involves to the people that are in those stores. A lot of you here are probably old enough to remember, I believe it's that same convenience store on the north end of town. I believe it was in the 80s, we had a clerk was kidnapped and murdered from that place. So I'm concerned when I go in these stores, and it's mostly women that are working in the stores, for the risks that they take. So I appreciate the police department for staying on this and working with the county and the GBI to identify it. I understand they're working pretty hard on that other armed robbery that's out there. But again, a reflection, I think as Mr. Taylor stated, you know, it's not just our community, but it's going to take everybody's efforts. I believe our new chief is committed to reaching out to our community and making sure that our citizens are being involved and know what's going on. I'm looking forward to some of the things that I've seen. We discussed at our meeting in February about bringing online our GIS mapping, which when that is fully on the website, you're going to be able as a citizen to go on there and look and see where our crimes are taking place in the city of Douglas. You'll be able to know what's going on in your neighborhood, and I think that's going to help people make decisions about when and where they want to go. And I think it's also going to give us an opportunity for citizens to give information that may spur them to think about things that they've seen, people they've seen in certain areas at certain times. So I'm looking forward to whatever we can do to continue to address the crime issues in our community. As Commissioner Durham alluded to, we've lost several, you know, over the last couple of years that have been murdered, and you know, I can't even imagine for these families what they're going through. So whatever we can do to reduce the potential for these things happening, we've got to do it. And I would again renew my calls for our citizens. If you see something, say something. Call it in. Let somebody know. I believe that if you do so, it will matter. You can make a difference. If you want to know, many of you may have seen Mr. Bo Dukes, that verdict came out the end of last week over in Wilcox County. He was convicted basically for lying to the GBI and not turning over information that he had about a murder that took place, I think it was 11 years prior to the time that he was interviewed. Because that man refused to give information, a family over there is left to wonder what happened to their loved one that was taken and basically just, you know, as the website says, up and vanished for 11 years. And Mr. Dukes is paying the price now. The judge gave him the maximum sentence because he failed to give any cooperation or any information that he had about a murder case. That's kind of the extreme example. You know, let's be the opposite of that. You know, if you know what's going on, if you see things going on that are suspicious, you know, that are criminal activity, let our law enforcement know about it. Pass on the information so we can make our community safer. That's all I have, Mayor.
Commissioner Pearson, you ready?
I yield to Miss Commissioner McNeil, Mr. Mayor.
Actually, I'd like to have the last word this time because whatever I say, she's going to get up probably and walk out if I start telling the truth. So some
No,
people,
no, I'm not
some
walking
people, some people who want to say that we aren't telling the truth, as we start to tell it, then they're selective about whether they want to hear it or not. So I'd like to have the last word. I'd like to speak, in fact, just before you do, if she'd like to go ahead, if she's got anything else she'd like to say about me, because you know, she's referred to me several times tonight in things I've said, or things I haven't said, or things I haven't done, or people I've supported who are staff that she doesn't support. So we agree to disagree. I agree to disagree. But I will not sit here and have it said that I'm lying. But I'd like to go just before you, Mayor, if you don't mind, because I don't want to have someone else come behind me who always has the last word. I plan to have the last word tonight.
Oh,
I'd like to be last as well.
So, no comments?
I'd like to speak after her.
Any comments?
No, sir, not unless after.
So, she wants to be last and you want to be last.
Mhm.
So there are no comments.
I have comments. I have comments. And my comments were not going to include her because what I had to say, I said in the work session.
That's what I said. She already.
Yeah. So what
It wasn't
what I
it
was
on
saying,
TV either. Go ahead.
sir.
It's on
No,
TV right there. The camera
No,
is.
that's-
This is the
that's
camera we
Facebook.
play to, Mayor. This is the real camera over here. This
But
man videoing.
Commissioner Pearson?
Because they raise their voice and they get all energetic and they get all. So
Yeah,
I'm
who
just
is-
saying,
who is they?
Who is they? I
Who
don't
is
know.
they?
Whoever's talking to this camera right here.
You
So
talking?
That's who I have
You
to
talking?
speak to. I
You
will.
talking? So you they?
I am.
Are you they?
I am.
No, that's not what you meant.
I am
That's
now.
not what you meant. But Mayor, I'll go ahead because like I said,
Thank you, Commissioner.
I was not gonna say anything about what I said in the work session because I had said it. So what I was gonna say tonight is, Ms. Chanel, are you still here?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you step to the podium? I wanna ask you something if you don't mind. Just about a conversation that I had where I asked you to do something a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Do you recall, and it might have been longer than a couple of weeks, don't quote me. Do you recall I asked you to get me on the agenda about the GBI?
Yes, I did.
Ma'am?
Yes, you did, sorry, yes, you did.
Okay, did I get it? Was I on the agenda about it?
No, you weren't added on the agenda, and Charlie and I emailed you about it. He said it was an ongoing investigation, and that was why it wasn't added to the agenda.
Okay, so that's been about 4 weeks or so now. So,
It may have been about 3 meetings ago.
three meetings ago, so that would have been maybe about a little longer, six weeks. Okay, all right. So thank you. I just wanted to find out if you, because, you know, if I did
I
that.
emailed you back and I explained that.
That Charlie said it was ongoing. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chanel. So, Mr. Davis, so is it still ongoing?
Yes, ma'am. The information we're talking about, the district attorney's looking at it as we speak. He's meeting on it this week.
So, you mean to tell me that the district attorney is looking at it, but the mayor and council has not been informed anything?
As soon as they make their decision what they're going to do or not do, then I'm going to have a meeting with you, because it depends on what they say and what the GBI says, which way we go or not go. And so,
So, I mean, no updates. So you haven't said anything to anybody else since that initial email?
just like, we've had a couple of bullet statement emails saying it's ongoing, the GBI has it. And so, I mean, it's just an ongoing investigation. I mean, there's nothing else to bring to you until they
But-
make their decision.
But so actually then, you're saying the district attorney's office is investigating now?
No, ma'am.
So the
They're taking-
GBI,
They're in talks with the GBI.
So the GBI, they've involved the district attorney's office and they're still investigating.
Yes, ma'am.
That just doesn't sit right with me.
Well, I mean, that's just a fact.
And how long has this been now?
2 months, 2.5 months, something like that.
I think it's longer than that.
I mean, end of December, so whatever month we're in now, March, so 3 months maybe at the most.
So was it that detailed that it's taken this long to be investigated?
I can't speak for the GBI.
How many city employees did it around? How many? Not asking a name. How many city employees is it?
One.
Just one.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's taken all this time.
I can't speak for their timetable or their workload.
Have the other people that's involved been contacted in question?
The other people.
That's not the city employee. The other people
I mean, I
that.
can't speak, I mean, because they haven't shared with me what they're doing, the GBI. I mean, they're doing their investigation, but, I mean, this is not a high-priority case for them because they've been involved in some of these other high-priority cases. So.
Okay. And would you happen to know how many other people, other than that city employee, how many other people that was involved with that? Or other companies or whatever?
No, ma'am, I don't have all the details from the GBI.
Okay. But do you know some numbers?
I know one that was brought to my attention, but since the investigation, I don't know where that investigation has gone.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Davis. All right. So, my closing comments, I'd like to, first of all, thank, because I was told that there, in the murder of Mr. Gibson, I had some people who came to me and told me that the police department did a really good job in trying to find that person. So I like to commend the police department also in that. And I know, Chief, you were not here, but would you happen to know if we had outside help trying to solve that murder of Terrence Gibson?
I'm not.
You're not sure? Well, anyway, the thing is the person was arrested, and we're thankful for that. So I commend whoever was involved with that. The other thing that I wanted to say, Commissioner Durham has mentioned that, this council has been silent when it came down to things that Mr. Preston would say in regards to myself and him. And Commissioner Durham is telling the truth with that. This council has been silent. And like I've said to you all before, we can have people going up there to pray all we want. We can claim holy, holy all we want. But until we get our hearts right and treat people right, we're not going to progress. So take it as you want. You got to treat people right. And I don't know, Miss Cindy mentioned that I come and say whatever. It's not about that. It's always been that reason I had the last say-so, because Mayor Pauk has always called on me last, Commissioner McNeil. So that's how that has been happening. But Commissioner Taylor, in one newspaper article, somebody brought it to my attention that it was written up by Mr. Preston that Commissioner Durham and I had bullied you. So I want to ask you right now in the open, has it ever been a time that you feel that I have bullied you on this council?
No, ma'am. I'm a 64-year young man,
Okay,
and I can stand on my own 2 feet,
thank you,
So nobody don't have to bully me, and I can make my own judgment.
thank you. I appreciate that. I
I'm proud to
appreciate
be
you.
64.
I appreciate you clarifying that, because when somebody called me and told me that had happened, I was really hurt. I've been hurt a lot of times sitting up here in this capacity, and I won't even name all the times, but anyway, never, to my knowledge, called a person a lie while sitting here before the night, not that I can recall. But those of you who were here saw that I was called a lie first. I can say this, out of all the 20 years that I've sat in this capacity, I've been under Danny Lewis as city manager, Jackie Wilson as city manager, Terrell Jacobs as city manager, Charlie Davis as city manager, and 3 or 4 mayors. And elected officials have never been treated as we are being treated now. And folk can holler all they want about respect goes both ways. Sometimes it's a matter of respect just for the position. Because I tell you, when I worked for the Board of Pardons and Paroles for 7 years, and 3 years we went without a raise, we didn't badmouth those board members because we didn't get a raise. We shut our mouth and thank God that we still had a job. I can tell you, when the Board of Pardons and Paroles made decisions as employees and as a parole investigator, when that board member came and visited our office, it was nothing shown but respect, regardless of how you felt personally. Because sometimes the position deserves respect. But I can say tonight, things have never been like they are now. And I've sat here for 20 years, and it's never been like this. So I don't know those retreats we have, and I didn't make this one, and that's some of the reason why, and some because of my health. But the retreats, they're not doing any good. Because one thing about it all, you've got to do what's right in your heart. Because even when I've been mistreated by people, I still treated them with respect. And I didn't turn around and mistreat them because they mistreat me, because I wasn't brought up that way. I tried to show love. But one thing about it, the citizens of Douglas, Ward 3, elected me to this seat. And some people in this city have had a problem with that for a long time. But until the citizens of District 3 no longer want me to represent them, I will be representing the citizens of District 3 unless my health fails me completely. Because I know that during the time, the 20 years I've sat here, I've tried to do what was right and treat people how I thought was right. So this mayor and council, I don't know what it's going to take. But I tell you, I can say this. Countdown time has come. We're in March, and in November it's the election time. And I am not in favor of putting burdens on people, writing people citation just for the devil of it. I don't favor that. I didn't favor it when I came here, and I will never favor it. There's a way. You only bring about hostility and confusion in your communities when you put the pen to people with the fine all the time. That's just not how you do it. That's just not the way for it to be done. But you want peace, and you don't want robberies, and you don't want killings in your communities. Well, I tell you, it starts at the top. You can take on your leadership role. If you can't do it, you need to give it up. Those are my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Pierce.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Commissioner Neal.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to think really long and hard about what I say here. And I want to address the citizens of this community, because it's been implied that there are those of us who are up here who shouldn't be, or those of us who are up here who aren't taking a stand, a firm enough stand for our constituents, and that we don't care, or that we're listening too much to our city staff and our city employees, those who are very seasoned in their positions, and those that we've given this job many years ago, and they've served in various commissions and through other mayors and through other city managers and elected officials, and they've done a remarkable job. And I feel as if, Mayor, that there's somewhat of a scare tactic going on to our citizens for example, the implication that just because we're going to allow the two people, the person in animal control that we hire, the new person we hire in animal control, because we're going to allow this person to write a citation, like all other cities do, probably most every city in the state of Georgia, I would guess their animal control person can write a citation. But we've had the implication tonight that because we're going to allow that, we don't care about the citizens, and the citizens should take a stand against this, because we're going to allow the staff member who makes the recommendation, Mr. Randall Parker, who's had this job for many, many years, and makes the recommendation on citations, just because we're going to allow these two people to help with the backlog of the 20 or 30 or 40 warnings that may be out there, where there's only 2 or 3 that have actually been brought to a citation. And in fact, I got a call today, Commissioner Durham.
That's the first.
No, I get several, because a lot of my constituents, if they have rental property or they have homes or their family, I had a family member today who passed away, and they called me because they had gotten a notification, or a family member had gotten a notification about going to court for a citation. So I welcome these. I want to hear how I can help people, but I want to support what the city is trying to do overall in making our community better. And this person completely understood it. People who want to be law-abiding citizens, those of you who want to live in a good place, you will be fine with this, I'm sure. Please don't be afraid by what you've heard tonight, because there's no reason for you not to be able to call a city staff member still and get things taken care of. Do not be afraid. And please listen to me carefully. There are those of us up here who love this job and take it very seriously. We are all about new people coming to Douglas, new law enforcement people who will come here and who will take a chance on our community. We're all about new industry. Commissioner Pearson, you were talking about something I said the other night, and you misquoted me. And in fact, my point that I was trying to make to you was that, at your tenure and your status, like Commissioner Moore and Commissioner Roper and some of the others who have served this community for many, many years, we're not required to go to these meetings. We go at our discretion.
So
They're discretionary.
How will we get our certification if we don't go?
But you've got all you need. You have all you need. He has
But
all
I don't
you need.
have all
But
I
what I'm
want.
saying,
I don't have all I want. I would like to get
I
the
didn't interrupt
highest.
you. I didn't interrupt you.
But you
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
mentioned.
Did you interrupt me?
But you addressed
That's
me.
okay. Okay, my point here is Commissioner Pearson, let me say this then. Commissioner Pearson, the other night, I made the comment, Commissioner Pearson, I have a heart for Douglas and Coffee County. I worry about what people think when they must watch these sometimes. I get so many calls and so many comments from people who say that they regret this type of thing has to go on up here. I do too, and I don't want to be a party to it. You'll see that I most of the time will just not say anything. I'll choose the path of least resistance, or I'll take the high road, as my mama used to say. But I want to say this. In a conversation I had with Commissioner Pearson, and I said, I want people who are looking at Douglas and Coffee County to put industry here and to bring jobs to our community. I want them to have a good feeling about our community and our commission, and the fact that most all of us up here get along really well. And we love what we do. And her comment to me was that she didn't want any more jobs, and she didn't want any more industry in Coffee County because we couldn't take care of the ones we had, and so we didn't need any more jobs.
Oh my God.
And that's what you said to me that night.
No,
You remember?
sweetie.
You heard that?
No.
She
No.
said. But
No.
so
sweetie.
we're just being honest here, y'all.
Sweetie.
Let's talk about our faith and our
Sweetie.
Christian beliefs and our religion. And that was said.
You misunderstood
Just as sure
me.
as I'm sitting here.
You misunderstood
She said we're not
me. There's-
taking care of the people we have, Mayor.
She
So,
said until we get it right.
yeah.
She also
And we
said
did
until
get it right.
No.
We getting it wrong? Have we got it
But,
wrong all these
okay,
years?
but I could not have said I don't want any more jobs.
She
That
did.
could not have been the gist of the statement.
She did.
I might have said we
I
need to
conclude.
make sure things are changed
Again, I
to,
don't
to,
get the
to
right.
be, okay, Miss McNeil, give me a chance to respond now, because I don't want any of my constituents and anybody else thinking I wouldn't want more jobs to come here.
You said that.
Okay, well, if I said that, I said the wrong thing, because that's not how I meant it. So hear me well, that's not how I meant it now. How are people gonna live and take care of their families
I ask you.
if, come on now, no. Well, I can assure you all, it wasn't meant that way. She's saying that's what I said, but I couldn't have
I'm
said
sitting
that.
here.
What I might have said, and I kind of remember the conversation, it's been a while, but I've referred to how we need to make sure we are hiring people equally and fairly. I know I said something pertaining to that just a certain group of people don't get the best jobs. I might have said something to that. Was any of that said?
No, ma'am, I don't remember that
Okay,
at all. No,
okay.
ma'am. We didn't get to that point. You dismissed me.
Olivia Pearson?
You dismissed me.
No, sweet. Okay.
you
All right,
dismissed
we
me.
can tend to disagree, baby, but like I say, let me clear it up. Like I say,
She's gotta have the last word, ma'am. I'm
because
telling
I need
No.
to let people know that if
I'm saying, Commissioner McNeil, you addressed her. You shouldn't have addressed her.
I'm not addressing her now. I'm not addressing
but you
her
have,
now.
and I need to respond to it.
You should have just made.
Not with this comment, I didn't. Not with this comment did I address her, did I?
Okay,
I
long
didn't
story
address her.
short, anybody
She jumped in.
who heard what she said, please let me say, I would not have ever meant that we did not need more jobs and industries here. I would not have ever said anything like that. I probably said we needed to make sure people are hired fairly, have good wages for everybody that who qualify, but not more jobs and stuff coming. No, I would not have ever said anything like that. But it was something else you said that I wanted to say something about, but I don't recall what that was. But anyway.
Now, Paul, I just want to say this too. We're not scaring them about these citations.
Oh, yeah,
They
that part.
coming to us about these citations.
That part.
They coming to us. They done came to you before, Commissioner Taylor, in your ward.
But they
I'm not
understand
scared.
once we talk to them, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Once we talk to them, they understand.
No, I mean, but you're saying scaring. Scaring is a tactic
Yeah.
I scare you. I don't scare, how can I scare a
You're saying
person
there's
about
gonna
a
be
citation?
more of them.
How can you scare somebody about a citation that they have received? That's the scary part.
He's addressing me, see, Mayor. He's
I
addressing
didn't
me.
say, not
I
once.
said you scared him. I mean, you scared him, all right?
No,
You're
because
telling them, because you tell them they're gonna get more of them if we put more people out there on the street.
I mean, that's
they're
what
gonna get
we-
more of them.
Okay,
No,
so-
they're not. They're gonna work the cases they got.
Okay, so therefore, if we don't get more citations, I mean, that's just like, for example, if they don't meet their quota for tickets for the police department, for stopping.
Whoever said that, who has a quota? Police department doesn't have a
No.
quota.
But do y'all need tickets? Do y'all need tickets to be written?
We need voluntary compliance.
That's right.
And
amen.
this is a new chief.
Right.
The
So therefore,
previous
the last
chief.
one, it was a quota.
Yes, it
I know what I
was.
was talking
I
about.
never recall.
Oh, yes.
It was.
Oh, yes, it was a quota.
It was.
And if we wanna go there, I'm just gonna leave that alone. But we're not scaring people.
Right.
We're not scaring
Please
people about
disregard
tickets.
that.
God knows I'm not scared. I'm trying to help them when they get a ticket. I'm trying to help them when they come to me about a light bill.
That'd be
That's
great.
but you're not faced with what we face with. No, you're not. Your ward is not faced with what we face with.
That's
And I'm
true.
gonna be
Yes,
100%.
sir.
That's
The
true.
expectations are just as
No,
high.
it's not
It's
expectation.
just
You
people.
don't have poverty like we have. Your ward
Okay.
don't look like our ward.
Thank you.
Your ward don't look like my ward. My ward look a mess.
Whose
Your ward is
fault?
brighter.
Are
So
you
don't go
blaming
there.
me? Are you saying you're blaming me?
No.
Are
I'm
you
not
saying
blaming
Of
you,
course
but you
not.
can't-
you're
okay.
prejudiced?
Hold
You're
on.
prejudiced. He's
No,
prejudiced,
I'm
man.
prejudiced.
Come on,
Yes,
come
he
on.
is.
Baby, I work, girl, go somewhere. Go somewhere, cause baby, I work for a sharecropper. I crop backer. I stayed at the people's
act-
house.
but you
So
act
not
like I'm
prejudiced.
privileged. I'm
Baby,
not
I done
privileged.
slept in the bed. Don't go there.
You act like
Don't
I'm
do
privileged.
that.
Commissioner Dunn.
I'm not prejudiced. It's you prejudiced.
You act like I'm.
I'm saying, Commissioner McNeil,
I'm just talking about how it look
I'm
on the
standing
side
up
of the
for
street.
myself. Going forward.
Mr.
I
Mayor.
just said,
let me,
if we
wait.
Mr. Mayor.
I
So
have-
you
I-
heard me say that too?
I have tried
Is
to
it-
give leniency
You've done great.
up
need
here.
you to
I've
answer.
tried to give leniency. I've tried to be respectful. So let me do this right here. Let me make my comments, and
Yeah.
I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
All right.
I'll make that motion.
The first thing is, the Pitiful Peace was a great event.
Good.
A lot of law enforcement out there, the young individuals out there did a great job. I was gonna get on a bicycle, but didn't want anybody to go live. They was ready to go live on it. I can probably still ride, but my objective is to ride a hoverboard. That's the objective.
Wow.
Better get on the grass.
I just tell you, I gotta get on. I do want to say to the police, appreciate all your efforts, your long hours, and again, see something, say something. The way that our communities get policed up is community involvement. Our fire department, parks and rec, code enforcement, all our departments, we're here to serve. And one of the things I do want to address about Mr. Preston, let me say this right here. I sit as a member of this council, and I hold that in very high regards. I may disagree in here on certain issues, but when I walk out of here, whatever we vote on is what I support. Because here, the majority rules. Not 1 or 2, not even 1, 2, or 3. It takes 4 for anything.
That's what Mr. Roper said.
Anything to happen in the city of Douglas. So, if you're in the minority this time, okay, fine. We litigated it. We came to a vote. We move on.
Right.
We move on.
I agree.
That's just the way it is. Now, as far as Mr. Preston, as far as standing up for this council, I don't fight publicly. That's just not my thing. I don't fight publicly. I have defended Commissioner Durham. I have, there's an article about you over there at the voting thing. I called Mr. Preston. I said, we don't need that right now. We don't need that. So when the police was called over to the voting thing,
Oh, yeah.
I said, we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need you going live on scenes when the police they're still tape up. They're still tape up. There are still family members that need to be notified. So just because I don't defend aloud does not mean I'm not defending. I tell you just like this right here. This team up here is just like the Trojans. When the Trojans win, we win. When the Trojans lose, I'm hot. You know what I mean? Because I love them Trojans. Just like I cherish and respect each member up here. We look at things differently. We have different experiences, different education levels, different backgrounds, ethnicity, economic, social, just a myriad of things that we're different, that we're trying to gather a consensus on a number of things. So look, one of the things I told Ms. Boulder, the essence of customer service is being able to let that customer be irate, have a robust conversation, and at the end of the day, still provide customer service. Now, everybody sits up here and talk about, oh, the citizens called me, the citizens called me. I get twice as many calls as y'all do. But guess what? Charlie, what about this right here? Hey, Charlie won't respond. Hey, Charlie, I'm texting Mike Hudson about this right here. Hey, I'm texting Georgia. Hey, I'm texting Stevie. I go through the city manager. If I can't reach the city manager, then I will text the city manager and encompass that department head in that text. And they always get back to me. And normally, the citizen don't even want to talk to me anymore after the department head has talked to them. I cannot recall but maybe 1 or 2 incidents that citizens approached me about that was not resolved in their favor. Look, to me, I saw something on Facebook. The next time you help somebody homeless, don't post it. You don't need to post that you fed somebody that needed a meal.
That's right.
So guess what? Worked with Georgia on a case. The lady was upset that she couldn't pay something. Turned it over to Ms. Henderson. Is that resolved? got an email. She don't even want to talk to me. The citizen talked to Ms. Henderson. It's done. It's done. So the way that we do things, and let me say this right, because I don't want this to be personal. The way my wife looks at the world and the way I look at the world sometimes is totally different. It just is. It just is. Because she's a female, I'm a male.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different. That's all it is. So in our differences is when we try to draw a consensus among the 7 up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that consensus is not always unanimous. It's not always unanimous. So that's fine. That's fine. So let me say this right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's my last comment.
Good.
One of the reasons why I try to control my emotions as the mayor of the city of Douglas, I was in a conversation with a couple individuals up at one of the GMA conference, mayor's conference up there in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying how industries now no longer talk to us. They can go to the state of Georgia, they get all the demographics, they know what sites that we have available, they know if we have water, sewer, trash there. They can get tons of information without ever calling us.
Mm-hmm.
They go on the Facebook, they go on our city web page, they look at our meetings, they look in the newspaper, all these things here. So as the mayor of Douglas, I sit on the Economic Development Authority. I just attended some training up in Griffin, Georgia, wonderful training. You would be surprised at what individuals look at when they're looking at locating here. And guess what? They don't have to call the city manager. They don't even have to call the Chamber of Commerce or the Economic Development Authority. All that information is right here. So what we try to do, or what I try to do, is I try to set the tone in the chamber that if somebody sit in Seattle, Washington is thinking about locating here and say, oh, they're getting things done down there. They're doing this right here. There's a site over there in the industrial park. Well, we don't want to be the catalyst that gives somebody a decision not to locate here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been entertaining a major industry for the last year.
Mm-hmm.
For the last year. This industry could be life-changing to a number of our constituents.
Right. So why wouldn't
So
I
guess
be in
what?
favor of it?
That's why Tony Park gonna keep his mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
So, citizens of Douglas, it's like this right here. We do the best that we can.
That's all
We do the
can
best
do.
that we can.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my staff over there, my job that pays the bills, in the Olympics, in the 100 meters, the last heat for the gold medal, there's a guy that came in last place. He was doing his best. He just came in last place.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes our best is not good enough.
That's
Or
right.
meets that requirement.
That's exactly right.
And sometimes we have different points of view. That's why it's a consensus. Once we get a consensus and we vote on it, that's it. As Mr. Roper said, it takes 4 votes to move anything in the city of Douglas.
Yeah.
At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
It's been motion second. Any further discussion?
Discussion.
You better.
4 votes, but I tell you, don't vote with malice. Don't vote with malice. That's all I
Okay.
say.
We have, that's it?
Yes,
All
sir.
in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We stand adjourned.
I like